Hello. Do you ever feel like sometimes the world just feels like it's completely out of control and your thoughts are spiraling and you can't really grasp onto them, things are shifting so quickly, and you start to fall into yourself and you end up in a place where you don't know if you can get out? Well, that's okay. One, we're human. That's completely normal. And two, I'm going to talk to you today about some ways that you can get out of that without actually having to force yourself out of it. When you fall into your thought patterns or you fall into a place within your head where you're kind of going down that downward spiral, telling yourself you have to get out of it is not the thing that really gets you out of it. The ways that you can get out of it are really by shifting your perspective and kind of tricking your brain into realizing where you're at and what is good and what is beautiful around you and abundant around you. This can really be in regard to money, or it can be in regard to people or friendships or housing. I mean, really whatever's going on in your life, you can kind of use this to apply to anything and everything. And I also am going to first off recommend some books that I think that you should read. When I'm experiencing this, this is the number one way that I'm able to get out of it, because even if my whole world is crashing down on me and I start to fall into these places in my mind, these specific books will shift that. It's either the energy of which they're read, or the person writing them, or the words themselves. Just listening to them and subconsciously programming them into my head. Those thoughts and the books as they're being read, they literally talk into the back of your head, and your thoughts tend to shift into the patterning of those books. So let's start with me giving you some recommendations. Okay, the first book that I highly recommend, this one I literally listen to every month on a monthly basis, but that's number two, is Ask and It Is Given, and this is by Jerry and Esther Hicks. I listen to them on Audible specifically because I can put my headphones on, or I can drive in my car, or I can do the dishes and just listen, and that way even if I'm not fully present, it's still programming itself into the back of my mind. This book is incredible for programming. It's basically repetitive thoughts, and repetitive thoughts are the quickest thing that are going to shift your mind and your perspective and the way you're experiencing your reality. So this is the number one book that I recommend, and there's actually an entire line of Jerry and Esther Hicks books that are from or channeled from Abraham Hicks, and they are all absolutely incredible. If you're specifically looking for money, there's one called Money and the Law of Attraction. It is an amazing book, and it really just it resets your brain just by listening to it and pulls you out of the energies that you may be in. And I highly recommend listening to this book at least on a monthly basis, just for the positivity of programming it into the back of your mind. So that is the first book that I highly recommend. The second book that I recommend is called It's All in Your Head by Russ. I'm one of the biggest Russ advocates of all life. I actually recommend listening to all of his music as well. Not just because he's an incredible artist and an incredible rapper, but because he actually intentionally programs his songs to program positivity into your brain. It's really incredible if you just take the time to listen, but you could start with his book, and if you just listen to his book, all of it is programming and positivity and basically gives you the idea and the gist of what it's like to speak your reality into existence. He's super big on that. He pretty much is the walking existence of speaking your reality into real life. So number two would be It's All in Your Head by Russ. I strongly recommend it. And I also, even if I'm not listening to Jerry and Esther Hicks, I actually will listen to just Russ's music in general. I'll just shuffle play Russ if I ever need to be in a good mood, because he really does program so much abundance and beauty and positivity into all of his songs. It's incredible, and I just highly recommend that. And then the last and third book that I'm going to recommend is going to be called Ask Your Guides. Sonia Choquette. Sorry, it's on my phone because I'm reading from Audible. I listen to all of these books on Audible because I just love the speaking aloud programming, and these are all books that I listen to over and over again. Now, the Ask Your Guides book is actually really incredible because it is a book, and in between different chapters there's actual meditations that you can do to connect with your spirit guides, your team of light, basically to connect with the energies that are guiding you on this path, and there are so many of them. So I highly recommend that book as well. That one is just positive because it really lets you know and makes you aware of all of the abundance and access that you have to abundance that you usually you aren't aware of because we're not really taught how much access we have to abundance. So I highly recommend that book. It is incredible. And again, doing the meditations with it, or even just listening to the meditations, all three of these books are absolutely incredible for reprogramming your mind, or even subconsciously programming positivity into your mind. One of the things that I've noticed that's super, super, super big when it comes to us being spiraling or out of control or having anxiety attacks or panic attacks, like I actually personally experience them as well, but anytime that they do happen, it's because I fall into subconscious patterning that is stuff from my childhood or things that have happened throughout time, repetitive thoughts that have come back or like risen in my system, and that's how I fall back into my panic attacks and the things that I personally experience. But for most experiences, all of that does come because it's something that has been repetitive throughout your life. We pretty much live in cyclic pattern. Everything that we do, it has patterns and it has waves. And things that are repetitive within our experience tend to come back around. And that's because it's something that we have taught our bodies or our brains or our system in general. And in order to move that out of our system, we have to start by replacing those patterns with positivity. So that's why I highly recommend listening to these books, and I highly recommend just anything positive that can be around you or even in the background. Like sound frequencies are incredible for this as well, because it's patterning into your system sound frequencies that are calling in abundance, because that is your original frequency, and it's the most powerful frequency that you can tap into because it is more of you than anything else. The second thing that I do to ensure that I am always staying positive and keeping myself in like an abundance mindset is really just making sure that I do certain things on a regular basis. So as I mentioned earlier, listening to a book once a month. Like even if I'm doing really, really good, like still listen to that book that's patterning positivity into your brain, because that enhances the positivity. It enhances your ability to recreate abundance and create, again, more abundance, and it draws in the frequencies of what you're actually looking for, and it will keep doing that. But if you fall off and you don't keep consistent with it, then you could accidentally fall back into your old patterns and re-enhance those or have them rise again, and then that just pulls you all the way back down, and you don't want to be there. So you want to be consistent. You want to make sure that the positive things that you are doing, you're doing them on a regular basis. So for me, once a month, I actually listen to both Jerry and Esther Hicks. I listen to like 3 of their books once a month, and then I also listen to It's All in Your Head by Russ like once a month, literally. And I have a few other books that I listen to also, but you kind of like, from there, you're able to find and call in more books that literally will just find you, and they're for your abundance and your growth. And if you guys are interested in just like my entire book list, I can always make an entire separate video about that. You guys can comment down below if you'd be interested in that. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, by the way, and hit that subscribe button if you like positivity and abundance and all the manifestation techniques, because that's really where I'm like moving my channel to be. So throw a good thumbs up and a subscribe button if you're interested. Also, if you just want to know the other books that I'm reading, you guys can go down to the link below. I will include my Amazon. I have an Amazon storefront, and I have an entire section of all of the abundance books that I read that will literally change your life. So you can go check that out if you are interested in that. As I was saying, being repetitive and keeping positivity in mind as you're moving through the different months of the year or cycles, just being consistent in general is extremely important. So another practice that you can do besides just listening to books and listening to positive things is journaling. You can actually choose positive journaling, which is crazy, I know. But I personally journal every single day. I do this practice, and this is actually a practice that I do that I found from an artistic perspective, because it clears your energies and gives you the opportunity to be more creative. But this also gives you the opportunity to just clear everything out of your system and restart fresh and restart new and be in the light that you need to be in. So what you do is you basically journal every single day, at least 3 pages. I do it right when I wake up, but you could do it at night. I really recommend when you wake up, because if you do it right when you wake up, you clear everything out so you don't take it with you throughout the entire day. But just waking up and doing something like that. I also have so many manifestation books, I mean positivity manifestation books, because I've struggled my entire life with depression, and in order to shift all of that, that's how I've found all of these things, really, is because I've struggled so much in my life with positivity, and being able to get myself through it and get out of it, and remembering that it's a relationship with myself, and to just shift that, I've found so many of these things. So I also have positive manifestation journals. And they basically will have you do affirmations. Affirmations seem so funny and weird, but they actually do work. The thing is that when you move into affirmations, and this would actually be number 3 if you affirmations can absolutely change your life, but you have to be really careful with the way that you do them. Everyone is always throwing around like all these affirmations, like I am rich, I am a billionaire, I am this, and those are really, really beautiful. Even if you say something but you don't actually believe that it's true, it's not going to manifest into an affirmation that draws that energy in, because what you're really giving out when you say an affirmation like I am a billionaire and you don't believe it because of XYZ, that calls in more of the frequency of falsity and non-belief, which is crazy, but that's the truth of what your body is feeling. So the quickest and easiest way to shift that is to start your affirmation game by doing affirmations that are true. So for me, I find like when I'm writing out my affirmations, I like to pick a few and then I like to kind of explain them. I describe each affirmation the very first time to say why I believe that affirmation. So for example, I'll say I am abundant. Well, why am I abundant? What makes me believe that I am abundant? I have a house, I have shelter, I always make my rent, I always have a fridge full of food, I have a car. I actually have 2 cars, one's not with me, and I get to give that opportunity of my other car to the person that's renting it. I have a really healthy body. I always work out. That means I'm abundant in health. Like, that's beautiful. I rarely ever get sick. That's abundance in health. It's a beautiful day today. I'm abundant in sunshine. I'm abundant in beauty all around me. I live in one of the most abundant places in the world because I'm in Hawaii and everything grows like 10x. Like, I'm so abundant that like these trees, these bushes, everything that protects my home, that protects where I live is so incredibly abundant. So that's an example of how I shift my my affirmation to understand why I believe that. So now when I say I am abundant, oh, immediately all those things sweep through my brain. I even gave myself visual representation of what I see as abundance. All these bushes, all these trees, my home. So every time I look at my home, I'm also thinking I am abundant. That is a wonderful affirmation. And now every time I say it, I believe it more and more and more. And then you just fall into the pattern of repetition until you completely have it in your system so much that you are saying it all the time and you don't even realize that you're saying it. Another one that you could do is, I am more in alignment with my soul self than I have ever been in my life. Why am I in alignment with my soul self? Well, I am no longer saying yes to things that don't feel good for me. So that means I'm in alignment with my soul self. I really only have friends that represent my soul self and who I am, and they make me smile and I can be all of myself with them. Oh, that means that I'm even more in alignment with my soul self. All of the books that I read fill me with joy when I read them. I literally feel alive when I read all of these books because they're in alignment with my soul self. So now every time I say, oh, I'm so in alignment with my soul self, that is true for me because I know why I am in alignment with my soul self. So that's kind of how you can shift your affirmations. I really recommend the first time journaling them out or writing them in a journal and writing all the reasons why, because writing is a huge speaking it into the universe type of experience. Anytime that you want to manifest anything or bring anything into your life, positive or abundant or XXX of how much you want of something, you want to write it down, because writing it down, for me, I like to experience it as writing it down is like writing the book of my life, like writing the story of my life. So when you write it down, it literally is written into the stars. It's written into your experience, and it just manifests so much more quickly because you're writing it into your reality. And so that's why I strongly recommend writing it down. And you also, everyone learns differently. I personally, when I write stuff down, I memorize more quickly. And so when I write stuff down, even just for the basis of things, like I remember it even more and I believe it even more, and I have it repetitive in my head because it is a repetitive patterning thing. So that is something that you can do to really call in even more abundance, affirmations, and real affirmations, soulful affirmations, ones that come from the heart, that feel so, so true to you. The abundance that is going to manifest the frequency of authenticity, and that is the most powerful frequency that you can call into your reality. And another thing that I do when I'm really, really struggling is actually pray. So this will be number 4. I pray. And this is funny because if you knew me, basically I didn't believe in God when I was growing up. Like I didn't even think that was real. But I've come through a whole entire spiritual journey, and now whether you believe in God or not, no matter what you believe in, like praying is the practice of calling in guidance, help, and trust into your reality of things beyond you or in essence of you. So when you pray, you're like literally asking your angels or your guides or whomever you pray to. When I first started praying, I prayed to my best friend who had passed away because I didn't believe in anything else. And so I'd literally pray to him and I'd be like, I really want this experience. I believe that I should experience this. These are all the reasons why. Like, I want to do this. Da, 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 da. You know, it was mostly like a conversation, a prayer with my best friend who had passed on. And in doing that, it became a conversation of what I wanted in my reality, of all the abundance I wanted in my reality. And that in turn, energetically was able to be twisted back towards me and lit up. Kind of like a shining light. Like that's how you glow. Is by doing that, sharing what you want, and that's gonna light you up to the degree that it becomes an endless cycle of energy. And praying, no matter who you're praying to, gives the opportunity for more to come to you, especially when you pray out loud. You can pray in your head, that is totally okay, but I really highly recommend praying out loud. And if you ever feel uncomfortable, this is for all my spiritual baddies, spiritual gurus. If you ever feel uncomfortable with praying out loud or saying certain things, or if you're a little bit attuned to mediumship and psychic energies, then you can actually say this prayer, or you're supposed to technically, I learned this a long time ago when I had a course in mediumship. You're supposed to make your own prayer, so I highly recommend just adjusting this to what feels the most in alignment for you, but basically you're going to call in protection. So I will say my prayer to you right now before I ever start any type of a prayer, how I start it, how I end it, and you can kind of take it and run with it, or you can shift it and change it to feel what feels most in vibrance for you. So I say, to my team of light, to the angels above, with, and through me, to the guardians that watch over me that are of the light, may you please bless this space and wrap me in a ball of golden white light energy with no leaks or cracks. And then I will ask for them to wrap, like, will you please wrap my home? Will you wrap the neighbors' homes? Will you wrap this space in this street? Will you wrap this home that I'm living in, the state, however big you want to make it, you can. But will you please wrap and protect any and everyone? And I usually do this prayer every night before I go to bed as well, just because who knows what happens when you dream. But I always say this prayer, will you please also just protect me as I sleep and as I wander in my dreams tonight, so I may experience reflections and esoteric things of my experience, or whatever you want to say or whatever you want to call in. So I'll do that, and then I'll say the rest of my prayer of what I'm looking for, what I'm calling in, what I'm grateful for. Thank you so much for watching over me, for protecting me, for keeping my home safe. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you pretty much just say thank you for everything that you're really, really grateful for, and then you say, okay, and you could say amen. And I always say, so it is, and so it is. And I say amen. I say both. I don't know why, but I do every time. Some people say different things, like let it be, so it is, thank you, whatever you want to say to end it. But that's pretty much my prayer. So that is a way that I am able to call in. And then that's going to bring us to number 5, which is gratitude or appreciation. Gratitude and appreciation are kind of similar. I love the word gratitude, and gratitude is being in gratitude of things that are physically present in your current reality, and I absolutely love that. We should always practice gratitude. Appreciation, however, is basically gratitude on steroids. Appreciation is your gratitude for everything, but appreciation goes up, it intensifies, it becomes more. So being an appreciation of something means that you are consistently growing that abundance, that appreciation, that frequency of whatever it is that you are being appreciative of. You can do gratitude prayers, you can do gratitude meditations. I personally do gratitude hypnosis, which I may or may not be coming out with soon. And you can also just be like affirmations or having gratitude in general for anything. So some people do it with people, and it's a really, really easy way to be grateful and to be in appreciation is just to, like, when you're with people, like, say the things, like, I don't know, challenge yourself to be a little different. Let's say you're having a conversation with someone and say something that you appreciate every 10 sentences or something. Maybe don't think about it as much as you would have to think about it to do 10 sentences. My camera's about to turn off, hold on. But just like challenge yourself to say things that you're appreciative of just a little itsy bit more, you know? I really appreciate this in my reality right now, and I'm so excited to see more of this come into my life. And then as you're having a conversation, just like try and pull in and challenge yourself to talk about the things that you're really excited about, the things that you're so grateful for, and the things that just light you up from the inside, you know? I don't know why, but when I'm talking, sometimes I just get really excited, especially when I'm in appreciation and gratitude. I'm just like, oh! It's like energy flowing through you. Okay. Another way that you can just be grateful, as I mentioned before, is through prayer. You can before you go to bed. And this is actually one of the best practices that you can do is before bed and when you wake up in the morning. It's going to be right before you fall asleep, and it's going to be right as you're waking up. You're going to want to think about the things that you're excited for, appreciative of, or in gratitude of. Because if you sit and you walk through, like even at night before you go to bed, let's say you're in bed, hanging out, right? You're like, oh, I'm so grateful for this. And then you can say what happened in your day. Like for today, I can say, oh my gosh, I'm so, so grateful that the event that I had scheduled and had been planning that I was so stressed about, that was supposed to take place tomorrow, that fell out of alignment for tomorrow, was able to be scheduled for 2 weeks in the future. And that gives me so much more time to prepare and put all of the right energy into this event. That takes something that I was really stressed about and it turns it into gratitude. Like, I'm so lucky, I'm so grateful that I have more time to make sure that this comes from all of me, from the right light of my heart, and that I can make sure that this is everything that I want it to actually show up as and represent who I am, like the light of who I am. And then what else could I say? I'm so grateful that today was like a majority of the day it was so sunny and there was so much wind. All the wind was clearing all the energy out of my house, and it felt so good to have so much wind moving through my house today. And I'm so incredibly grateful and appreciative that the power went out in my house today, because I was able to sit down and be focused and sit with my camera and record a video that was so meant to be and that felt so channeled through me because the power was out and because I wasn't being distracted by anything else. And I'm so grateful that I did that, and that makes me so excited and appreciative to be able to make more videos like this and to be consistent with myself, and just that I'm actually showing up in the ways that I want to. I'm so thankful that that came into my reality today, and that that has shown up for me, and that I'm really building everything that I want to build. And thank you for the protection, for all the angels that have watched over me today. Thank you for all the angels that made sure that I didn't get in any crashes. Thank you to anyone and everyone on the other side that is of the light, that just sent me love today and made everyone feel good and smile back at me when I smiled at them. That energy really helped me when I was feeling really stressed today. And thank you for putting me in positions where I felt good energy from other people. So that's a really good example. Basically, you can just do that every single night before bed. And while you're doing that in your head, even if you're not saying it out loud, if you do it in your head, most of the time you're gonna notice that a little smile creeps onto your face. And you're just gonna feel really happy and abundant and falling asleep. That's actually gonna be hitting parts of your brain that we don't access on a regular basis. And it actually will consciously, subconsciously, program that abundance and that positivity into your brain. It's the most powerful time of the day that you can say things to yourself and think things that will be more likely to come into your reality. So you can do that at night, and when you wake up in the morning, you can be like, oh, I'm so appreciative that I have this bed, that I feel so good right now, that it's a sunny day, that there's light, I don't know, anything. And I'm so excited to do this and this and this and this and this today. And you do that as you're waking up, just like thinking about all the things that you feel joy and excitement for, because that is going to call in and put you into an energy that is so abundant and beautiful and positive. So that is everything that I really wanted to talk about today. I'm actually so excited that I actually got to share this with you guys. I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to tap in and talk, but gosh, sometimes it just flows through you. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that this was helpful. And if you guys try anything, please go ahead and comment down below if it was abundant for you. Read the books if you're interested, and comment your thoughts down below. And I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next episode.